Mermaid here, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to sink in a fabric mermaid tail without weights. Boy, I always feel really weird when I'm like, yeah, like how do you sink? How do I sink? How to sink? I feel like this is just like, is this morbid to anybody else or is it just me? Okay, so this is something I am asked all the time. Now, I am not the queen bee when it comes to sinking in a mermaid tail. I have, however, had lots of experience and lots of practice and a few tips and tricks that I have learned along the way that I want to share with you guys to hopefully give you a little bit more of an edge and hopefully help in the whole illusion of like staying down underwater and being comfortable and not like floating very awkwardly all over the place. So tip number one is to duck dive. You're on the surface and you literally like so and then down, like straight down. So a lot of the mistakes that I see, and I want to preface everything I say. When I say mistake, I don't mean like you should hate yourself, you're doing a terrible job as a mermaid. I mean things that I see that if you did a little bit differently, you'd have more success with, okay? So I don't want mistake to be like a negative, even though it's, I'm just trying to help, okay? I'm not trying to say that I do anything better than anybody else. This is just my experience because y'all been asking me. Oh, let's continue. Instead of being at the surface and just going a little bit under and then trying to like, okay, come on, I can do it. Like start off, you're super aerodynamic actually in your mermaid tail. You can actually go and shoot up, do a nice whale dive is usually what I call them, but instead of going just so that you're under the surface a little bit, go straight down. I also want to preface this, I realize, by saying don't swim alone, don't swim unsupervised, swim with a buddy. If you've not been swimming in a mermaid tail before, there are lots of safety things you need to be aware of and you should practice with just the fin and just flippers to start with. You need to be a strong swimmer. All that juicy disclaimer. Let's continue. The next thing that's going to help you is to not use a monofin that floats. This is something that me and a few other mermaids have kind of discovered. My monofin doesn't float, okay? If I take the Luna off, it'll sink, it'll gone. But the Mahina floats. The Mahina will just, it's just doing its thing. It's doing its Mahina thing. And that will create a bit of an issue, okay? So my Luna sinks and my Mertailer sinks, and the Mertailer really sinks. So it's like, boom. I have no problem staying underwater for a long time, like in terms of buoyancy issues. Obviously my breath hold is hugely involved in how long you can stay underwater.
I am not going to do a video on breath holds. Please do not ask me to do a video on breath holds. If you want to learn how to hold your breath longer, you need to take a freediving class. Safety first, okay? Okay. Picking
the right monofin. A Mahina is going to keep you up and floating a little bit more, okay? Now, somebody who doesn't really have this problem seems to be Nerdmaid Faith. Perhaps I will have to have her on one time to explain how she does all the magic. She tried to explain it to me once. She said it was something about suction and being like getting fast to the floor, and then the monofin kind of sticks a little bit because like it's so close to the, and I don't know. Nerdmaid, leave us a comment if you watch this video. What is your secret? I want to know. So my next point, which is kind of related to what Faith was telling me, is something that I've learned. I let myself suction to the pool floor. It might be the weirdest thing I've ever actually said on camera. I suction to the pool floor. But I do. So what I'll do is I will, not like forcibly, you don't want to hurt yourself, but I will quickly get underwater and let myself actually push to the bottom of the pool and then do one more push, and I kind of suction a little bit. I do it a little bit differently here and there, and as I kind of learn what works for me and what doesn't, this is all going to be kind of a guessing and testing thing. We're all built a little bit differently, and some of us just float more in different areas than others do. That's just, you know what I mean? But I do find that if I let myself kind of stick to the pool floor, it kind of works a little bit easier. I do it with my hands too. I will actually let my hands sit on the floor of the pool and it kind of holds me down a little bit. It's not foolproof. It's not like you're gonna suction cup to the bottom of the pool. But if feel like if you are touching surfaces, you're more likely to kind of, not to push yourself away, right? But to just kind of like ease into the space. So my hands, and then I kind of sit on top for a second. That I find does help a little bit. Okay, so the next one is just the certain way of using your hands to keep yourself underwater. The trick, especially because a lot of people want to stay underwater longer to have their picture taken, to have their photo taken. And this is not gonna do you any good if you're trying to get your picture taken, okay? I try and do it if I can. I try and do the motion closer to the front of my chest because then I'll get pretty hands. Like you'll get nice hands when you do this. Or do it from the side, kind of a situation going on, and that'll help push you down. Because to be honest, no mermaid just stays at the bottom of the pool. We're talking without weights here, okay? We're not talking neutral buoyancy. We're talking without weights, because weights is something you need to be trained to use in your mermaid tails, okay? So this is without weights. We're just talking like throw on your fabric tail, hit the pool, how y'all gonna stay underwater, okay? So that's what we're talking about here. But yeah, specific hand movements to keep yourself underwater. When I'm on my back doing bubble rings, I actually do something like this underwater, just to kind of keep myself against the ground, and it actually does look pretty similar to that. I feel like I'm gonna start swimming. Let's go. Now, something that I do that is not like a freediving thing, because in freediving you don't let any air out. That's like a no-no. You keep all the air in there, right? As a mermaid, I'm obviously not going for the gold when it comes to how long I stay underwater. It's never my goal to have like a crazy long breath hold. I just want to have fun and swim with my friends and do that kind of stuff, right? So as I go down, I usually let out a little bit of air to like my comfort zone. It makes me a little bit less buoyant, but I never empty my lungs completely. Oh my God, please don't do that. Please don't be like, okay, I'm gonna dive down and then try and sink. Like, I just feel like that's just an accident waiting to happen. I feel like that's a bad idea. I don't know. Obviously, if you're underwater and you're doing bubble rings, the more air you let out, the easier it is to stay at the bottom of the pool. It's something you need to actually remember so that you come up before you're totally out of air and so that you don't just stay like a sunken Little Mermaid ship at the bottom of the pool. The next thing is practice. Practice, 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 practice. I say this about so many things in all of my videos. I know that if you're new to mermaiding, you want to be able to do all of these things like yesterday. You want to have the 5-minute long breath hold, you want to have the silicone mermaid tail, you want to be doing all of these things, you want to be a professional. Well, I'm so sorry to be the one to tell you, but that's not really how it works. You are going to need to start at level 0. You're going to need to start at square one, and you're going to need to check off the boxes to make your way up to the top, okay? It is just, that's just life. Don't compare yourself to somebody else and they're you know, they're like 5 miles ahead of you, they're doing their own thing, they're driving a different car, you know what I mean? Like, this is your journey. So be okay with where you're at to start. And if you are somebody who's having trouble floating, don't let that be the thing that ruins your mermaid experience, okay? Don't let that be the end of the world, because it happens to all of us, okay? I was trying to, we were trying to pose for a group shot at a swim that I was at just recently, and honestly, I was watching the footage back afterwards, and it was hysterical. Nobody could stay down at the same time. We were like, up goes ahead, up, oh, there's Courtney, there she is again. Well, what you doing? Hey, what you doing? You know what I mean? So not everybody can just do it like all the time right out of the gate. There are just a few things that make it easier and make it look easier. Experiment, try different things. And if you really want to, you want to improve your breath hold, you want to experiment with weights, I highly, highly, highly recommend taking a freediving class. That was the ultimate game changer for my mermaiding world, was taking that class and learning all the things. I will leave a link to that video where I talked about my experience and all that good stuff. Hopefully I will leave it up in the cards if I'm a smart mermaid. I'm sure Nerd Maid Fate's gonna come after me one day and be like, Courtney, you never left anything up in the cards that you said you were going to. You were the worst YouTuber in history. And then I will cry and it will be very sad. But all that being said, I hope you found a couple of these tips helpful. Just remember that it takes practice. That's all I ask. Don't be hard on yourself, and please don't compare yourself to everybody else under the sun. Just because it looks like it's super easy for one person doesn't mean that everything comes super easy to that person either, right? We all have like our little struggles and our little things that we're working on. But with these tips, I'd like you to try them. Let me know how they work out for you. If you have any tips of your own that you would like to add, please do so down in the comment section down below. And otherwise, if you enjoyed today's video and you found it helpful, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to join the pod and hit the bell notification as well so you never miss an upload. And thank you so much for watching my fishes. I look forward to seeing you all in my next video. Happy swimming! Bye!